Welcome to the show, I'm Jeffrey. Today when you think about honky tonks, you think about establishments. You know, a place to go to hear danceable music, but it's also a style, a sound. I mean, you're not gonna hear Faith Hill's This Kiss in a honky tonk. You know, you might hear Webb Pierce or Marty Stuart. And honky tonk is what I do best. Honky tonk music represents the opposite of traditional music. You know, until then, traditional country music came from country folk. It was faith-based, it was family-based.
Where are you going? Straight to heaven. How you gonna get there?
But the new evolution were the kids of these country folk.
It's a shame that all the blame is on us women.
They were now living in the city, drowning their sorrows with alcohol, indulging in the city's nightlife, and detailing the happiness and the sins for the world to hear. Honky tonks offered live entertainment for people to come in and dance and drink and let go of all their worries from their week of work. Honky tonk music was also the first music to start using electricity with, mostly with the steel guitars.
I'm walking the floor over you.
And that's what I always think of when I think of honky tonks. One of my favorite things to do in the 90s, on Friday nights, doing what we called the ultimate honky tonk. And that was starting on 2nd Avenue and having a drink at every honky tonk, going up Broadway and ending at Printer's Alley. We were so drunk by the time we made it to Printer's Alley, it was basically just slow dancing to songs to hold ourselves up.
Could I have this dance?
Although we, you know, still hear that sound some in projects and songs, it mostly disappeared in the late 50s to make way for the new Nashville sound. Fiddles and singing about getting drunk were out.
Cherokee fiddles gone forever.
Pop orchestra, background singers, and love songs were in. The new evolution of the Nashville sound was more Marty Robbins, Patsy Cline sound. Actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, that was not an evolution. That Nashville sound was definitely man-made. It worked for 20-ish years, but yeah, not an evolution. Johnny Horton was one of the original honky tonkers.
I didn't know my baby loved me so.
Acknowledging the draw of the fun, sinful nightlife, and also acknowledging the aspect of having to go home to a pissed off wife when the money was gone. And you know, in 1986, Dwight Yokum introduced my generation to honky tonk music all over again, and it was so exciting.
'Cause I'm a honky tonk man.
Since the 1980s, we've had very few artists to actually embody the honky tonk sound, but you know, mostly on specific cuts or specific albums that were made to be about honky tonk music. I worked at the Wild Horse Saloon in the 90s, and we'd get off work and walk down 2nd Avenue and just listen to all this music pouring out of the bars. And one of my favorite 90s artists that you were bound to hear at least once an hour in the honky tonks in Nashville in the 90s was Ricky Lynn Gregg.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Oh my gosh, you answered!
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. Ricky Lynn Gregg was named one of Billboard's top new artists in 1993 for his country debut on Liberty Records. That same year, he caught my attention with a string of videos and hits like 3 Nickels and a Dime and Can You Feel It? Get a Little Closer, his second album on Liberty Records, put Ricky Lynn Gregg in the ranks of country music's finest.
I wanna be loved by you.
Well, the reason I initially was attracted to you, musically speaking, was because you looked different than everybody else on CMT and TNN at the time. You know, you had long hair, you had a puffy shirt, you had your famous white headband, or headbands in general. But then came out this Texas honky tonk sound that, you know, I loved it. Everyone loved it.
Tell me, you told me, baby.
Okay, let's talk about the video's 3 Nickels and a Dime. Other than being in tight-ass blue jeans on a boat, that looked like so much fun.
No doubt. It was a blast. As a matter of fact, some dear friends of mine that were shooting a documentary on me at the time, the Cabin Fever, they came to me and they said, "Look, we're divers. We like to dive,
Right.
and we worked out a budget and worked out a treatment to go to the Bahamas."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Wow, what's the deal?" They said it's $100,000. This is back when they spent $100,000
Right.
for a video, but they said we'll do it for $50 because we want to go down there and dive. And it was amazing. We went there. It was a blast. Food was great, but the most exciting thing was being out there in the Caribbean. It was amazing. All the Caribbean people who were in the video were outstanding.
Nice.
Can you feel it while we dance?
Can you feel it? What was up with those hands?
4 beautiful women had to get in the most awkward positions behind a piece of canvas with slits in it, and they reached their hands around.
Can't stop a rhythm once it starts.
Who is one of the coolest cats you got to meet because you were you?
Because I was me. You know, there's about 3 or 10 or 20 that stick out. It
Right.
depends when you catch me, but I think that when I first got to Nashville, I was excited to make friends. Well, you need to buy a dog if you want to do that. But I gravitated to Charlie Daniels. Charlie and I stayed friends from day one. He called me a year before he passed away to see how I was doing.
Wow.
And then suddenly he went. But the other had to be, without a doubt, Tom Wopat.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, you remember Tom Wopat.
Oh, yeah,
don't you?
yeah.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Uh-huh.
And we would show up at the same places at the same time, restaurants. It got to be a joke. And then we began to save each other's spaces in the long lines for the artists to get in, like the TJ Martell benefit and those type of things. But he was a good guy.
Nice. Any plans on getting back on the road when this bullshit is over?
Okay, I'll do this. I'm going to record next month for the first time in 11 years. And as I begin to feel better and get reconnected with all my friends, it just seemed like the right thing to do. I'm going to start here in Texas and see if I can capture some more Texas hearts, and then get back out on the road.
Thank you for your music. Thank you for everything you've done just by being you.
Thank you. And you know what? Let me remind your audience that you and I do have a long history. And you did come down, and you used to cover me back at the park, man. How old were you then? 20, 21?
22, I think, right out of school. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad I'm in your favor.
Well,
And
thank
good
you.
luck to your show.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon, man. Come to Vegas.
I will.
You can still hear honky tonk sounds and voices like Miranda Lambert and John Party on the radio today. It's kind of exciting when you hear it. I love it. I love that sound. There's just nothing like walking into a honky tonk and hearing the steel guitar before you can see the band. I can't wait for another Ultimate Honky Tonk in Nashville when this pandemic is over. I'm not doing it till then. I know y'all are open. I'm out. Anyway, thanks for watching the video today. Please don't forget to hit subscribe on the channel and hit like before you leave. Have a good day, and I'll see y'all next week.